Hello beautiful, welcome back to my channel and welcome to this video where we are gonna do a full face of makeup that I bought and then for some reason never used. Like, this is like the forgotten makeup episode. It's literally money down the drain. I spent my hard-earned coins on this and then I never used it. And I also did ask you a couple of I was asking you on Instagram, ask me some questions. What do you want me to talk about? So I thought that this could be just a chill, get ready with me using some stuff that I for some reason never have used while answering some questions that you had over at Instagram. And if you haven't been here before, if this is your first video here, hello, my name is Angie. First of all, introductions are needed and I am a big lover of makeup and beauty, especially things that are a little bit more on the colorful side. I love dramatic and fun and colorful makeup, and if you want to see more of that, don't forget to subscribe because I do upload quite a lot of videos. So we are going to start with my face, and I am going to be using, I don't know why I bought this and never used it. I think it's because I wasn't spending a lot of time outdoors, but today it is beautiful weather, so I thought today would be a great time because I don't spend a lot of time outdoors. This is the Neutrogena Mineral UV Tint Face Liquid. This is a tinted sunscreen with a SPF of 30. And I'm not going to be using enough of this for it to be 30, but it could be a good addition, or if you use a bit more, maybe you will actually get the 30. This is in medium, so there are, I think it's 4 flexible shades. I think it's a light, medium, or is it I don't know, but I have the medium, but I know there's different shades. This is a flexible shade uniquely designed with neutral undertones for ease of blending, complement your natural skin tone. It says to shake before use, and I don't know exactly what to expect. Oh, this is open. I could probably have checked this. That actually looks like it's gonna be a really good shade. Maybe a little bit too neutral for my undertone. If you didn't know, I have more of a neutral golden undertone. There's a little bit of yellow in my undertone. I'm just gonna blend it in with a sponge. So this is basically gonna be a makeup look with just a tinted SPF, and then I'm gonna use some concealer. I don't know really what possessed me to never use this one. Why did I buy it to not use it? It's a mystery. So I will say I did get a couple of questions that I don't want to say legal reasons, but sometimes you be signing contracts that makes you not be able to answer some questions about stuff that's going on either before or in the future, and I thought that maybe I can answer one of these other questions with that in mind. And I had it here somewhere because it was about Jaclyn Hill. I don't really talk about other creators like that, but I thought because of my experience with contracts and stuff, I wanted to, where is it? Here it is. How do you feel about Jaclyn Hill and her not addressing that she doesn't own Jaclyn Cosmetics? Because from what I gathered, I don't really watch videos that discuss more the behind the scenes of makeup most of the times, because at the end of the day, what I'm interested in is the makeup. I'm gonna be honest with you. Sometimes I try to stay away from some brands because of reasons that happen, but sometimes I do be loving the makeup and I want to give brands a second chance. And from what I gathered with the Jaclyn Hill situation is that she actually doesn't own Jaclyn Cosmetics, and when she got bought by Forma Brands, which is the owner of Morphe, this is from Fenty Beauty, this is not new, but it's a more medium coverage concealer and I thought it would be perfect for today. I'm guessing that they didn't go in as an investor. They actually went in and just bought the company straight from her because she was having a lot of problems after the lipstick thing happened, and they bought, I'm guessing, her out from the company, and she's now the spokesperson from the company. And this has been discussed after some legal documents became public after the whole Forma Brands going into Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And I'm guessing, and this is just me speculating, one of the reasons why sometimes we can't talk about things that's going on behind the scenes, stuff that's if you're working with a brand, if you're I guess what she is for Jaclyn Cosmetics is more of an ambassador, or maybe the face of the brand, sometimes contracts prohibit us to talk about things. And we have all, I think, in our lives seen contracts, or maybe like me, because have definitely been a dum-dum sometimes with contracts, even before YouTube, seen or signed contracts that just weren't in our best interest. Like they really, once like push comes to shove, you realize that, wow, this wasn't 100% benefiting me. I'm just using some concealer to cover up some of the parts that I like having covered up, which is basically just in my T-zone and under my eyes. So like I really don't have any coverage here at all. I am going to be setting this with powder though, because it feels a little bit like moisturizer or sunscreen, and I think I'm going to be using this one, the Nikea Joy Loose Powder. I do use this one. So this is again not something that I bought and didn't use, but I think this mattifying powder will work good with a tinted sunscreen. So I don't know Jaclyn. I've never met Jaclyn. I will never, most probably never meet Jaclyn. I don't know anything about her behind the scenes or anything about her except what people have said about her. Don't really watch her channel. I'm not 100% sure whether or not I am subscribed to her. If I'm gonna be totally honest, I don't keep count really on social media. Sometimes I do a big purge, like where I try to like unsubscribe, or sometimes I realize that like people that I'm watching I'm actually not subscribed to, or like on Instagram sometimes I'll realize that some of my best friends, I'm not even following them on Instagram. Like that happens to me, not too rare, but like, so I don't know like the reason why Jaclyn wouldn't talk about this, but I sometimes, when people say stuff like this, why won't this influencer address this, or why doesn't this person talk about this, that and like all these different things, I always try to remember that there are reasons sometimes why I haven't been able to talk about certain things, and it's because sometimes you are under contract and you can't talk about things. I will say I try to make, like for me, for example, when I sign contracts now, I try to not sign contracts, and I don't do that says that I can't say anything bad about a brand, because I think sometimes it is important to be able to speak your piece about a brand. And for example, with like collabs that I've done, that has never been a part of my contract, because I think it's important that you're allowed to say like if you don't like a product. And all of the brands that I've worked with, collabs and otherwise, have been very open and vocal about like, we want you to be honest about our products. And I mean, that's something that's important to me. Why did I set my entire face with powder now that I'm gonna do some bronzer? I'm gonna be using this one. This is the XX Revolution Lock and Key Bronzer and Blush Duo. I did buy this one and I had it in my collection for a full month, and I forgot I had it and didn't use it. I have used it once since and I actually really liked it. So we are going to be using it again today. So this one I have actually used once, but this was the only bronzer that I like really was like, at least I almost forgot about it. But I really like this one. I think it's a nice bronzer. So I'm just going to be using a little bit of this today because we're doing a little bit more of a low-key look, since like I'm not even like wearing foundation. I'm also getting a lot of questions about Cinch Beauty and like future releases for Cinch Beauty. If you didn't know, that's the brand that I launched myself. I have them here in front of me. The brushes that we have released them about less than a month ago actually, and you have a lot of questions about the brand. Of course, I don't, what I think at least, for obvious reasons, I don't really want to talk about like future releases and stuff like that, because if there's one thing I've learned is that you never know what's gonna happen. But I will say this for me is something that's been really fun. I'm gonna be using these Made by Mitchell blushes. I bought a shimmery one and I bought a non-shimmery one. We're going to be using those. For some reason I bought these months ago and I never used them. So here we go. This is actually mustard. Okay. I don't want to talk about releases before like I have it worked out. That is very, very patchy and actually yellow. That's not really a flat. I love a yellow, but that's not okay. We're moving on. This is a work in progress. Trust the process. Well, maybe be a little bit worried, but we'll sort it out. But I do have things planned out, and I love the process with Cinch Beauty. I've loved everything so far. Even the hard parts have been, even if I don't want to say fun, boy, I look crazy. don't know if I love that. Even if it hasn't been like fun, it has been so interesting and so fascinating because it's been one of those, I've learned so much in so little time, and I've also learned a lot about like, oh, this is why brands do this and this is why brands do that, and you know, this one, and so on and so forth. So it has been very fascinating in that regards. I look crazy, I know that. I got eyes, I've seen it, but just know I am working on things. I don't see Cinch as being a here and not there. Like, I don't see Cinch as a brand that's just releasing one thing and disappearing, but I also don't see, that's a lot better, isn't it? But I also don't see Cinch as a brand that's releasing a lot of things. And releasing things take time. I mean, you know, I've done a couple of collabs before. I have done favorite sets, and I have like developed together with brands my very own eyeshadow palettes. And just doing a collab like that with an already existing brand, with an already existing manufacturer, and like product developer, and someone that's doing the packaging, and like blah blah blah, all of that already done, still has taken more than a year. So I want you to keep that in mind when we are moving forward with like products and stuff. If you want to do something really good, and if you want to have your own formulas, if you want to have your own packaging, if you want to have your own colors, and you don't want to do like just private label, pick something from a catalog, put it in any kind of packaging, that you can do in 2 months. If even that. You can do that so quickly. And I've been approached with, oh my God, I've been approached from quite a few brands that have asked me if I want to do that. Like, you have no idea. So many brands. And I've been very vocal telling those manufacturers I am not interested in that. So things take an extreme amount of time. And I also am a person that if stuff doesn't like end up the way that I want them to end up, I'm not doing them. So I am not above scrapping something if it doesn't end up the way that I want it to end up. So keep that in mind. I look crazy. I know, I see it. I've got eyes. Keep that in mind for any brand, to be honest. If you think they're moving slow, like why are they not doing this, all of those things, it could be something as easy as it takes just a lot longer than you might think. It just takes a lot longer than you might think. Does this look good? I mean, it is. I am just gonna put and just set this down a little bit. That yellow color is just a little bit too opaque to look like really good, but I also don't hate the fact to have like yellowy cheeks. But I think that this will look better once we get some eye makeup on. At least I hope so. I threw a little lip liner on because I'm gonna be using this for the first time. This is from Fenty. I bought this like limited edition case, the red one, because they were releasing, oh wait, it's like this. There you go. I was struggling with that one. I bought because they were releasing some red shades. So I bought this one. I think it is in, oh, it says here, Danger Dancer, number 16. And it is a orangey red. And for some reason, never used it, never swatched it. But look at that. The cheeks are still looking, like I do look like I have jaundice. I realized that this is not the shade for me, or probably anyone. But this lipstick, I like it. Why didn't I use this, you ask? It's one of the mysteries of our times. Okay, I have 2 eyeshadow palettes that I could think of on the top of my head that I have bought with my own money and for some reason never used. So it is the Strawberry Dream by Lunar Beauty. I don't know why I never got it. Look at this, I haven't even swatched it. I don't know why. So we're gonna do something with this, and I also bought this one, the Warrior 2 by Juvia's Place. This one I have swatched. Yeah, I'm fairly sure I've swatched some of these. Never used it, don't know why. So I'm just gonna be answering some of these questions, and I'm just gonna be digging into these palettes. I also bought some of these, and I have used, because I have one or two shades of this from before, but this is from NYX. This is the SFX matte like liquid paints. I use this as an eye primer, and I bought 3 more shades when they were releasing more, and I never used them. So we're gonna do the red one today, and we're gonna do some like reddish eyeshadow to this. Maybe, I was gonna say red and pink, but I don't know if that's the look together with this orange chic. That's a little bit off, let's be honest. Look, it still has the foil on it. Oh my god, and now I have red everywhere. Oh bye. Help. Send help. Okay, I have red paint everywhere. It's staining my fingers. It's not the best look ever. What is itching here? Do I have something here? Except my nose. Hello? Not loving that. I'm just gonna use a brush that's already stained. Let me get a question, and I can see if I can play with this while answering a question. Hold. Ooh, this one is a fun one. This one is something that's sometimes important to think about. And this is what is a non-business or non-YouTube goal you have for yourself this year? Honestly, I like stuff like that because sometimes we're so like, I think we're like so stuck in just like talking about like business goals and money goals and just career goals, and we stop to think about goals for, that's pretty but makes me worried. Just goals that are not like about our career. It is important to have goals that are like, I don't know, just isn't connected to numbers and isn't connected to like money or stuff like that. Just connected to like maybe you and your fulfillment. I know that one thing that's maybe technically it's a little bit like of a career goal, but it is to have a better work-life balance this year than I had last year. I have been on and off this good versus bad work-life balance. Sometimes I'm doing really good, and then sometimes I'm doing really bad. And I have during, I want to say, bigger parts of 2022, I wasn't doing the best, let's say. I was struggling a little bit to not work during evenings or like nighttime, which is something I try to not do, and not work during weekends, which is something that I really try to not do. And sometimes when you really like your job, it's so easy to be like, oh, I'm just gonna be doing this. Oh, I'm just gonna be fixing that. Oh, I'll just do it. It's gonna be so easy. That's what I tell my husband. I'm like, oh, but I'm just quickly gonna fix that. But it's still work, and sometimes you need to remember to do other things as well, just because they are fun. So one of my goals for this year is to, or just for moving forward, I guess, is to be a little bit better with the work-life balance, because I haven't 100% perfected that, and I want to be better at that. I want to be the kind of a person that just doesn't think about work all the time, because that's the thing. If there are no goals to when your job is being conducted, like as a social, working with social media, your job is always there. Your audience, someone is always awake. You could be working technically, I think I'm gonna start with this one, all the time, and I'm gonna do the EO too. But I don't want to be that person. And sometimes you have to tell yourself, no, not working now, not working today. I need a break, and it is okay to take a break from a job you love. It doesn't mean you don't love the job. It just means that you love other things too. And I think that's been the hard part for me when I feel like, oh, I need a break. I've been struggling with this. Why do you need a break if you love it? Because I do love it. But sometimes you just want to, do other things too. And that is one of the goals for this year for me, is to just not work during weekends and just be better at like stopping. Sometimes we all have to, do a little overtime. Sometimes we all need to work a little bit more, work at a later hour, or just, stay late and finish something. But I can't do it every day. So that is definitely one of my goals for this year. And I will say, I have worked a lot with Cinch, of course. It's been quite a lot. And I can't say that up until now I've been doing the best job at this, but I will say I took the entirety of last weekend off. We went to the movies. There was actually a question here that asked me what movie I saw at the movies most recently, and it is Dungeons and Dragons. It's so good. It's so good and so funny, and you don't even have to like fantasy or Dungeons and Dragons to appreciate this movie. It is just funny. And I really think that they did a good job at taking some of the parts that could have been incredibly dorky and just made them incredibly humoristic instead. And I am a really big fan of how they did that movie. I think they did a really good job. I'm impressed with the movie, and Ricardo really liked it too. And I think that he is a little bit more, I don't want to say that he's like pickier. He might be pickier than me. I think I'm gonna do Sunrise, this one in the middle, and I'm gonna do the EO4. So yeah, we both really liked that movie, but I just had the entire weekend off. And also Ricardo made us some plans for Thursday night. So we're doing something with friends, and that means that I cannot work late on Thursday. Like, I actually have to be done and out the door, and sometimes I feel like I need to be reminded that like there are other things going on in the world that I could be doing. I can't just be work. And actually, I'm gonna take this weekend off as well. I'm trying to take all weekends off, but like this weekend it's gonna be super warm here in Austin, and we're having sun, and I am thinking this might be my first pool day. I don't know how I feel about this eye look right now. I think it's the cheeks that's throwing me off. I don't know. The cheeks are throwing me off. But that is one goal that I have. Another goal that I have for me, something that I know I want to do, let me do a little black from this one actually, is that I want to start to be even more harsh with myself about decluttering my life. Not only from like makeup, because that I feel like I do a good job at, but like with my wardrobe, and be a little bit more harsher of like, what do you actually wear? Because I've been really good at, since I moved here to the US, I've been really good at buying stuff that I really love and that I really use, but I think I need to be a little bit harsher with myself. Of course we all do some like bad, but we're all learning what our taste is. But I want to be a little harsher with myself of like some of the things that used to be my style that actually, quite honestly, just isn't anymore. I don't reach for those things. And especially now moving here, there are so many things that like I thought that I was gonna use, or I thought that I was gonna like, I'm gonna get so much use out of this, but like, no. I really didn't get a lot of use out of that. Oh my god, this is so pigmented that it's like almost like throwing it off a little bit. And I just need to be like honest with myself now that I've lived here in Texas for a bit, to just be like, well, you thought you were going to be a person who wore this and this and that, but you're not. So maybe just like give up that idea of yourself and just instead focus on the things that you actually use. So I think that's going to be, because I've been really good at decluttering. Like, we don't have anything in our cupboards that we don't use. We don't have any spare things in our kitchen because we started over coming here, of course. But I feel like maybe the place where I need to be a little bit more honest with myself is my wardrobe and like my jewelry, and just like letting go of some of the things that honestly never was my style, even though I thought it was gonna be. And also stuff that like, how do I explain it? That like I thought that I was gonna be more of that person, but like I'm not. Even though I moved to a warm climate, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be using this, I'm gonna get so much use out of it, but like I didn't. I'm using this, it looks, never mind that, it looks white here, but it's actually a little blue. So I think I'm gonna be using that. Did I spray past the brush? That's unnecessary. I think I'm gonna be using a little bit of that. I'm just experimenting. I will say none of this is really turning out the way that I want it to. Maybe this is why I haven't used these things, because like maybe these don't fit into the person I am either. I really do like the palettes though. I think they're really good palettes. But I don't know. Oh, there's a matte, almost white color in the other palette. Let me actually use that one a little bit too. I mean, this looks cool. So I'm sitting here doing my mascara, and I put a little bit of that like almost white shade. It's called Sass in my inner corners. And I have this question, and I asked you, like, don't hold back. And I really like this question because I think it's a fascinating question. And it is, can you address those claims that too many Indo influencers are nowadays in the pockets of larger indie brands like Nomad or Oden's Eye? I find it a weird claim. I find it a weird claim too. I think that every time a smaller brand becomes bigger, people always think that like it's a little bit more suspicious. With that being said, like both those brands that are being mentioned here, they're still like not a big corporation. They're still like like on the smaller side of a brand compared to some bigger brands. And like with the owner of Oden, of course, I mean, we have worked together. I've talked to her on the phone back when I was living in Sweden because she's Swedish. It's always nice to, you know, have someone in the business that's also Swedish, so you know you can talk Swedish to each other. And of course, like when I was in Sweden, it was easier to call someone with a Swedish number because now it will be like an expensive international call. So now we only mail each other instead. But like you follow some of these brands from them being smaller up until being more popular. Maybe this is what I'm trying to say. Some of these brands that I have been working with or just using their products or just loving their products from when they were really small up until now, like you feel happy for them and you feel excited for them that the brand that you really love also other people seem to love. And that's how I feel about Gourmande Cosmetics and Oden's Eye and Unearthly Cosmetics and Nomad Cosmetics and a bunch of these brands that have become, I don't want to say mainstream, but like a little bit more on the bigger side or a little bit more on the well-known side within the indie community. Like I remember them being a little bit smaller, and then when a brand that you really like that is maybe owned by people that you really appreciate, that are like really nice people, like Ace Beauté as well, and like just a really nice people behind the brand. Of course you're excited for them. Like I am excited for other people's success, such as these brand owners reaching out to me and sending me flowers and sending me wine bottles and wishing me success with my launch of my own brand. Even like Sigma Beauty. Sigma Beauty is owned by like really amazing people. They're just super kind and supportive. And of course you're rooting for them. I'm rooting for the success of people that I find to be really nice people that are doing really nice products. And it's not like I love the brand more now than I did before. It's only like now other people know that they make good products too. And a lot of brands, for example, that you would have an affiliate code with, I mean, you have the code because you love the products. I'm not accepting a code from a brand whose products I don't like. I don't even accept PR from brands whose product I don't like. There are quite a lot of brands that I decline PR from, or that I decline a sponsorship or an affiliated or a non-affiliated code from, because I'm like, I don't think we're a good fit. I don't think we're a good fit. And like, brands that I have codes with and that I mentioned the codes with, they didn't always have codes. Like Oden's Eye didn't always have a code, and I loved the products before they did. Nomad Cosmetics quite recently started with codes, and I loved the brand before they had a codes and before I had a code with them. Like Colourpop, I have a code with them now, but like I've been loving Colourpop for years, even before they sent me PR. And I think that's the part that people sometimes forget. Brands are not just picking people out of random to send PR to, especially not small indie brands. They're picking people that either already love their brand, Like, look at this person. She already bought our palettes. She already loves our palettes. We should put her on our PR list because obviously she already likes our brand. So I think that it's not just pure chaos when it comes to affiliate list or PR lists or affiliate codes or whatever, all of that. Like, it's built on brands want to work with people that like their products. Why would I accept PR or have a code for a brand that I don't like? And why would they send me PR if they know that I don't love their formulas? Like, it makes no sense. And some brands grow and get bigger. I mean, I remember when Melt was a super small brand and now they're at Sephora. I remember when Juvia's Place was a super small brand, now they're at Ulta. Some brands grow, some brands don't. Some brands, like, they come up and then they fall down. In Sweden, you say som en pannkaka, like a pancake, they fall back to the ground. And some brands just stay small forever, stay a small indie brand forever. There are so many different journeys a brand can take, and I think that people become increasingly suspicious if there is a brand that a lot of people love. But I think there sometimes is a reason why a lot of people love it. It's because they make really nice products. They make really nice products, and there's a bunch of brands that I really like their products. Take Nomad, for example. I really like their eyeshadow palettes, but their Christmas palette last year, I actually said I didn't like at all. I recommended you to not buy it, even though it would financially benefit me more if you bought it and used my code. But like, I don't want you to buy something that I don't believe in. But yeah, it's all like give and take. And some brands just release a lot of products that you're like, wow, this is just so up my alley. I love all of this so much. And I don't know what to tell you. That's just the way it is. And I understand that it may look suspicious from an outside perspective sometime, but there are very, very few brands that I use and love where I didn't start out as a customer first. There was a few brands where I actually tried them out for the first time when I received them in PR, but I think most brands, even if I didn't start out as a customer, at one point or another, I bought something with my own money because I don't mind spending money on brands I love. It's not that you get the things for free that makes you love a brand. Because you love a brand, they want to send you stuff for free. That's usually more how it works. This was a long and winded answer. Let me go and see if I can get some false lashes on. Ooh, is this a Prance moment? Should I be digging out that new reformulated Prance? You think I'm just gonna use my old one, but no, Prance is back. Okay, let's do a little Prance. This is an old one, but an oldie but a goodie. I did put on some half lashes. These are from Bright Lashes, which is Angela Bright's brand. I did get a couple of questions about, I'm not gonna pop up any specific, but I got a couple of questions about travel plans and whether or not I am returning to Europe for like this year for traveling. And I actually have quite a bunch of travel plans. I have 2 trips booked with friends this year. One of them is happening quite soon. You'll see that coming up. The other one is happening in September. And then me and Ricardo, we are toying with the idea of going to Europe over summer. Not for the entire summer, of course, like none of us have time for that. But like maybe for, I'm trying to make this as opaque as possible. But maybe for like 2 weeks or something, we want to go to Europe, visit, of course, our family, visit some friends, maybe visit the Mediterranean if we're able, just, I don't know, doing a little traveling and just meeting some friends, meeting some people. That's what we're like toying with the idea of doing that. So we definitely have travel plans, and we have plans to go to Europe because like I want to meet like, you know, nieces and nephews, and we still have a nephew on Ricardo's family side that we actually haven't met. He's very new. So just look, yeah, you know, visiting families and stuff like that. So we definitely have plans. Okay, I have a couple of questions that I'm just gonna do like a little bit more rapid fire, just some questions that I thought was interesting. Because I got some questions about like how much it costs to start a brand, where I started, like this one. What was the process of starting your brand? Was it difficult to start it? Yes. It was difficult, it was expensive, it took a really long time. There's a lot of paperwork that needs to be filed. I'm still filing paperwork. Like there is a lot more things than you think to start a brand, especially if you want to do like I don't want to say do it right, but if you want to do the entire correct process of everything and do it correct from the beginning, it is difficult. It is difficult. And I also got this question: did the launch go better, worse, or about as well as you expected? I am enjoying mine. Very excited that you're enjoying your brushes. For me, I had some expectations of what I thought the launch was going to be, and I think some people had some expectations as well. Did I have lipstick on my teeth? No. I think for me, it did better than what I expected. I was not expecting to have that many sold units the first like 36, 48 hours. Of course, I did not expect to have any problems with Shopify either, but we all know I had some problems. I did have a video about that just after the launch, but so far it's been doing really good. I've been really excited about the feedback. I have like 60 plus reviews already, which I think is crazy, and I'm very grateful that you took the time to leave a review on the Cinch Beauty brush set. I'm very excited about that, and it's been really good. And of course there's been people that's been negative, like I've seen negative posts, I've seen negative comments, and I understand because not anyone can do something that's for everyone. But I am excited that overall, even the people that weren't interested in buying have been supportive. Like, this isn't for me, but I'm excited for you because, like I said, I am excited for other people and other people's success, and it is exciting to see people feel the same about me and my brand. Any interests in having kids? No, not really. And also, we need to stop asking women about kids. Start asking men about kids. Nobody's asking my husband about kids. I don't feel like it. I don't think that my genes are so special that they need to be preserved for a future generation. I also don't think that I'm gonna be lonely because my best friend in Sweden also decided to not have kids, so we'll be fine. And who knows, maybe I'll, like, I don't want to say like take kids in, but like be like a home for, like, what do you call, like a foster? I can see myself doing that in the future when I'm a little bit more steady with, like, you know, maybe owning a home or something like that. I wouldn't mind that because I want to help. There are people out there that needs help. But like, do I feel like I need to preserve my genes? Not really. Ooh, this is a loaded question. If there was one thing about Sweden you could put in action in the US, what would it be? Free healthcare. Too many people go into bankruptcy just trying to survive, and I honestly hate it. I really wish that the US could have that because I feel like it's unfair that you don't deserve to be healthy because you don't have the finances that others do. I don't like that at all. I think being healthy is something that everyone deserves. This one is interesting. Would you share new PR with other creators so that not everyone gets that many parcels? Most of the things that I get in PR, my friends in this industry get as well. I actually accidentally got 2 PR packages by Half Magic Beauty lately, and I just sent one of them off to one of my creator friends. I opened it and I realized this is the same thing that I already got. I put the lid back on, put new tape, put an address on, and put it in outgoing mail because I don't need 2. And sometimes it is nice to share PR with friends in the industry because, I mean, not only are you helping your friends, you're also kind of helping the brand because you're spreading the PR to even more people. So I try to do that as much as I can, but sometimes you do get to be a little stressed. I had one question that I really loved that I want to end with saying or answering. Where is it? This one. What's your favorite word in English that doesn't exist in Swedish and vice versa? Swedish has a really good word that is lagom. And I think all Swedes know that this is a very Swedish word. Lagom means just right. Not too much, not too little, is just in the middle. And it's like asking someone, how much do you want? And you're like, not too much, not too little. In Sweden, that would be lagom. It's a really nice descriptive word that I really don't honestly even know how to describe in English. But one of my favorite English words that doesn't really exist in Swedish, which is a word that I'm trying to strive towards, is the word content. Being content with something and just being happy where you are. I try to teach myself that even though we're living in a hyper consumeristic society where everything has to be better and bigger and more like profitable every year, your life doesn't have to be like that. You don't have to be constantly striving towards bigger and better and more whatever things. You can be content with what you have and where you are and feel like this is enough. This is nice, and just be happy about the small things and the things that you have. And that's just what I've been really trying to do with my life. I want to be content with the things that I own, the experiences that I do. I don't need to be striving towards making more money, making bigger plans, making bigger travel things, having a more expensive wardrobe, or like, I don't need that. I am content where I am. And I know sometimes, like when we talk about houses and stuff, people ask me like, why don't you just buy a house? And it's not that I want a super big McMansion, because I'm not trying to do that, because again, I am content if I could buy this house. This is a nice size house. It's 3 bedrooms and 2.5 baths. I like it. But we are renting this house. But I couldn't really get a mortgage in Sweden because I am in an unsecure business and I was self-employed. So I'm trying to save up as much as possible so that we can have as little of a mortgage as possible. That's why I haven't bought a house. Because people are like, why don't you just go buy a house if you want a house? Like, get a mortgage. Also, the US doesn't love immigrants when it comes to a lot of things, and you're not really allowed to get a mortgage in the US if you haven't been in the country for a certain amount of time and file taxes for a certain amount of times, basically. So we can't really even get a mortgage in the US right now. So I'm trying to save up to buy something, but I want to have something to be content about. I don't need to have the biggest, the best. I'm not trying to compete with anyone. My wardrobe doesn't have to be the biggest or the most expensive. My house doesn't have to be bigger than anyone else's. I just want to be happy where I am with the things I have and just be excited about small things. Like, I had a really nice breakfast this morning. Really nice breakfast. Super tasty coffee, and I had a pastry. It was lovely, and I had the sun shining in, and I was like, this is so nice. This is so nice. I could do this every morning. And this is a word that we don't really have in Sweden, just being like content, and I'm trying to strive towards it. And I will say, I remember in my early 20s when I learned about this word, and I was like, oh, that's a really good word. And I'm just trying to be that and just, strive towards good things for yourself without all the time striving to be bigger and better, and just, we don't need that. We're not a corporation. We can be happy and content where we are. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Oh my God, I'm out here just telling you my life story, but hey, you asked. Did you specifically ask about this? No, you did not, but you got it anyways. I hope you're having an absolutely amazing day. I am. The sun is still shining, and I will see you again. I don't know really when, either tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. I do, like I said, upload quite a lot of videos, and I will see you real soon again in a new video. Bye!